Hey, LinkedIn, I'm back. And as promised, I'm going to spend the next 5 videos or so talking you guys through my 5 step MSP sales process. So, the first step in the process, and your process might be 6 steps, it might be seven, it might be four, but the important part is that you have a process. My goal over these next couple calls is just to deliver you guys a starting point for process that you can iterate on, improve, shred pieces out of, add pieces back to, but something that you can go back to every time you get done with a call and kind of dissect the call and see where things went well, where things could have been better and different, and improve that process as we go. So, kind of like when you're imaging a bunch of computers, you get 20 new machines, you've got to image. The process is we roll windows out to them. If the first one ends in a blue screen, a failed sale, then we're going to go back and we're going to dissect the process and figure out what happened. We're going to fix it so that we don't get that blue screen again, and we're going to try the process again. If we get a success, great. Then we'll go look at that image. We'll decide what could be better or different. Could we add some software? Could we add some other things to it so that the machine that comes out the other end is a little better? Great. In our sales process, if we manage to close a sale, we'll go back, we'll document the things that worked, the things we definitely want to do again, and then we'll look at the things that we could have done better or different for next time so that the outcome is faster, the outcome is smoother, there's less friction with the prospect, those kind of things. You can't do any of that unless you have a process, right? And as MSPs, too many of us are only doing 1 or 2 sales calls a month. It's hard to really get good at something that you only get to process once or practice once or twice a month. So it's important to document that process. Mine's a 5 step process. I stole the name of the first step from Nigel over at the Tech Tribe, the right fit call. We're going to talk about that one today. We're going to do a stakeholder interview. We're going to talk about data collection. We're going to do a confirmation call, and then we're going to present the presentation. All right, we're going to show them that proposal. So today we're going to dive into that first step. As I said, totally stole the name of this from Nigel because he got the perfect name. And sales is kind of one of those things where you're never going to reinvent the wheel. Steal from people around you who have already done a good job and fit it into your sales process. So if you're already a Tech Tribe member, go over to the Tech Tribe, sign in, and search for the right fit call. They have a Tech Tribe resource around the right fit call that gives you a bunch of questions you want to ask your prospect. The goal of this call is really just to qualify that prospect, right? The goal is for us to say, hey, Mr. Prospect, number one, I'm going to ask you to spend money. Number two, I expect you to be a certain size and maybe in a certain vertical, or at least have some things in place. And if not, I'm going to expect you to spend money for me to bring some of those things to you to put them in place. And three, I want to know what the problems are. I want to make sure that this customer actually wants to work with a new technology provider. And I always ask them some challenges like, hey, Mr. Prospect, why aren't you working with your other guy? You've mentioned some problems to me, some reasons why you called me. Have you addressed them with him? And what did he say? What did she say? What did your previous person say? If this is a customer who didn't address it with their last MSP, do I really want them as a customer? If it sounds like they've been through 2, 3, 4 MSPs recently, and they just can't find a good one, well, the problem may be the customer, not the MSP. We want to rule those folks out early. And last, this might be a time to talk about budget. I typically push that into the next call, but I like to start laying the framework for budget early. If somebody tells me, hey, I have 10 employees, I know as an MSP, I can support that customer for somewhere between 1,500 and 2,500 bucks a month. And I'm probably going to tell him that early. Hey, Mr. Prospect, in my experience, I've seen companies the size of yours require $1,500 to $2,500 a month in products, services, engagement in order to solve for the kind of problems that you're telling me you have. If I come back to you with a price tag like that, can we be friends, or are you going to throw me out on my ass? Now, speaking of things that I've stolen from other people, that is a textbook Sandler sales tactic. I'm not a big Sandler guy. I think that some of Sandler sounds awkward and uncomfortable, but I worked with a Sandler coach for 2 years and borrowed the pieces of it that are comfortable for me. In my mind, that's a way easier way, maybe the easiest way, to get a budget out of a customer because it fits my personality. So, what my real goal is for this right fit call is to qualify the prospect or disqualify the prospect and start to lay the groundwork for budgeting. In order for me to move to the next step, I'm going to have to make that customer agree that, hey, if you think we're the right people for you, if it sounds like we might be able to work with you, the next step is going to be a series of calls. And I want to make sure that they're aware of that. I'm going to need 5 touches, including this one, before you can give me your business, before I will even take it. I'm going to come out and talk to you, and I'm going to do some data collection. We can schedule that call for tomorrow. I'm going to send an engineer out, a really smart guy, to come out and scan your network and look through the server closet and identify the real technical data in your organization. I'm going to bring back the technical stuff and the stuff that I interviewed you about, and we're going to mash all that together. And when I think I've got that right, I'm going to call you back and we're going to go over this again. And I'm just going to verify my findings. And then, and only then, can I really come to you with a real proposal that understands and identifies the risk that you have in your environment today, where you might be falling short on security, stability, reliability, and give you a full answer and a full solution that'll solve for those kind of problems. So this is my right fit call. This is that first thing. Somehow I wound up with a prospect on the phone. I'm going to ask them some qualifying and disqualifying questions. I'm going to make them aware of my framework and how I work in the sales process, which makes them aware I have a process. We're a grown up. My organization is grown up. I don't need their business as much as I would like it. I have other folks vying for my time. So we're going to put in 5 calls. We're going to run through this real fast. We can get through it in 6, 7, 10 business days, and we should be able to have a proposal out to this customer. And sure, if their life is on fire, we'll dispatch a tech right now to go fix the problem that's on fire. But we're not going to do full managed services. We're not going to take this customer on for the long term until we've gone through this process. So first things first, right fit call, disqualify as early as possible, and get approval for them to follow your process and schedule that stakeholder interview. Tomorrow, I'll talk through the stakeholder interview. I'll tell you about the things that we care about in that stakeholder interview, and we'll move forward with next steps. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions about my process, I'll tag the document below. And I'm happy to have a conversation with anybody who's working through this and trying to figure it out. Sales, I think, is a skill that a lot of MSPs think of as black magic. I don't think it's that complicated, and I'm here to help you become a less slimy, less sleazy sales guy in a manner which just allows you to go out and consult with your customers and with your prospects. That's the goal. Stick with me for a couple of sessions and we'll go through all of this. And who knows, when we get done with all this, maybe I'll stick it on my YouTube channel as a playlist so you can watch it all in order. Thanks, and we'll talk to you soon.